Welcome to another exciting edition of the Part-Time Preppers. Today, changing the brakes and rotors on a 2009 Civic. So stay tuned. Okay, we're back. Now, you're going to need the basics. A decent wrench to take the lug nuts off. You're going to need a jack stand and a decent jack. And that jack here has paid for itself many times over. Okay, so let's get the tire off. I'm assuming if you're attempting this, and you need a chuck. I didn't show that, but you need a chuck for the rear tire or a cinder block or something, or a brick. Okay, because you don't want the car rolling on you, so let's get that tire off. Okay, we're back. Here are the tools you're going to need. Now, you may or may not need a drill. I'll get to that. You're going to need, and there on the first rotor, that sucker broke. Craftsman, so we'll see if I can get a new one at Kmart, because I believe they still sell Craftsman. Okay, well, there's the backup, so I hope that works. You're going to need a C-clamp. You may need a screwdriver, a big Phillips, or a drill. You'll see in a minute. And I like that little pry bar. Of course, you're going to need the brakes. I like to throw all my bolts in a little brake box when we're doing work on brakes, this way you don't lose them. Of course, you're going to need a rotor. If I didn't mention a 12 millimeter, you're going to need two sockets, 12 millimeter and a 17. I don't have a deep long 17, but we'll see if she'll do. And a bungee cord and some piping. Optional, unless you're the Hulk. Piping is good. You'll see. That's it. Stay tuned. Okay, the first thing, here we go. Yes, nasty rotor. It is time. 70,000 miles on this 2009. We got it new. No complaints on this Honda. But okay, first of all, you're going to take this caliper bolts off. There's one right there, hard to see, and there's one at the bottom. I don't know, hopefully you're seeing it. That's where the 12 millimeter comes in, so we got to break those two bolts. Okay, here's where the pipe comes in handy. Right there, you see, I put the pipe on the bolt here of the caliper, and I was able to break it with the help of a little extra torque. So we get the top one off. Okay, pause. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, hopefully you can see, there is the bottom there. And VA, go ahead, you can play with that wrench. And we did break it, again, with the help of our pipe here.
It's kind of loose.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get that caliper off. Right out of the way. Gonna hook that up there. Let's see how she sags. Okay, that's not bad. So just get that caliper out of the way. Now, the hardest part I find is behind here, there are 17 millimeter bracket. You have to take this bracket and, of course, the pads off to get at this. So that is the tricky part. It's going to be hard to do it with a non-bendable wrench here. We're going to give it a try. Okay, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. Now, I don't know if you're going to see it, but the 17 millimeter bolt that holds the bracket on. Yeah, this is the position we had to get the wrench in. And I actually have a little friend, VA, who came by and helped. He held, because without an adjustable, a swivel ratchet, it was more difficult. And so he held on to the top part, and I put both hands, and we were able to break that bolt. So, okay, so we'll be taking the bracket and the brakes off next. Okay, we are back, and so I don't need this. Why? Because these are next to impossible with the regular screwdriver Phillips to take off. Now, a wise old mechanic, because I didn't know this, told me these are just put on to keep them on the assembly line, basically. You don't need these, because he even said with American cars, now, I'm not a professional. I'm just telling you what I was told by somebody else. So you do not have to take my advice, by all means. But he told me you don't need these, because even on American cars, you don't see any bolts, at least for the most part, maybe the newer ones, for this. So I'm just going to drill these off. Okay, take a look there. We got our screw completely gone now. We're going to do the next one. You don't need to see two. We don't want to bore you too much. Okay. Okay, now when you're putting the bracket back on, you slide it in between. I don't know, it's going to be hard to show you, but where you put the bolt through, you slide it in between. Let's see if you can see. In between the rotor and where the screw goes through. So the back of the bracket goes, you know, through first. You don't try to throw it over the top of where the screw goes in. I don't know if that makes any sense. And again, it's hard to see, but you put it through. See right? It's right up against the rotor, and then you line up the bolts and screw the bolts in. Okay, got the wrench. Here's the setup for the bracket right on top. And there we go with the bolt. And you're going to tighten up the bracket. Actually, I kind of tightened it already, but there it is. You got to tighten those bracket bolts, 17 millimeter again. So you get the bracket back on. Now you're almost done. Okay, the bracket's nice and tight. You want to make sure this area is nice and cleaned out. You want to make sure there's no little imperfections or spurs on the top of these notches. These look pretty good, because you want that to go in fairly easy. I mean, you don't have to be banging it in hard with a hammer or nothing like that. You want to just manipulate it. And this one here goes in there. And the one with the little, you need brake reminder or whatever. I think that's what that is. See that clip there? That will go on the back. Okay, so there you go. There's the back one up behind, and this one goes in here, but I only got one hand, so sorry. This ain't the best technical or how-to on brakes, but I'll just give it a try. Okay, at least on this car, this ain't the first time I changed the brakes, although it is the first time I changed the rotors on this. Like I said, we have another Honda, and I've done the rotors on that. But if you angle this in like this to catch it, they see that they go in. I do have to tap it to drop, but they go in. So if you angle it in, at least the front pad, we'll see how the back one goes. Okay, both pads are on. Take a look. You want them nice and snug to the rotor. There's my finger again. Okay, there they are. So just angle them in. It's not, you know, I gave it one tap with the hammer or two, but we got them all in sync there. So there you go. Now it's time to plunge the caliper. What are we talking about? The caliper. And as you see, there's a little ridge here. You want to plunge this, or decompress is a better word. How do you do it? You do it with your C-clamp here, but you don't put it right on the metal, of course. I use an old brake pad. I just put it on like that. I adjust this. So, and it's hard to do. If you have a friend, VA is videotaping right now. You just try to get it somewhat. Oh, there it goes, kind of tight now. You want to just, now there's other devices. I've been using the C-clamp for like, I don't know, 20 years maybe. So you gotta just, on this one, you just gotta get it on that screw. That's the part you want to hit. And okay, it's starting to get a little tighter, although I'm not quite perfectly on it. I'm gonna loosen it. I want to try to get it right in the middle. It's not that, it's just a little tricky. Okay, that seems a little better. Let's see if it'll tighten up. Nope, see, it came loose. This is...
This, here, let's put it this way. Yeah, it's hard to do it with one hand, but we'll get it. I got the other one. We'll get this one. Let's rest it up here.
I feel it decompressing now. I could be a little better on that screw on top. Okay, you want to get it right. Okay, the brake pad's pretty flat to that. So we're going to take this off. As you can see, there's a difference here. It is pretty decompressed. Now we're going to flip this over. You always got to be careful of the brake lines. You might have to push these in right here. Push that bottom one in. And there. You line it up. You get your screw. And again, sometimes you have to play with this a little bit to get it lined up. Move it around the drop. Okay, that one seems to be going in. So you have your upper. Is it going in? No, not quite. Okay, now it's going in. There's one. Don't put it all the way tight yet. You might have to play with the bottom one, which I do. There you go. Now you don't want to, you know, cross thread. You want to make sure they're going in easy. Take them back out if you're feeling any type of resistance in the beginning. And no resistance here. That's going in like butter. And that's going in like margarine here. Okay, so this is where you get your 12. Get rid of the 17. Put your 12 millimeter on here. And you want to tighten. You want to make them snug. Now, one time I made them too snug and I snapped the bolt off years ago. So, within reason. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty tight. Once again, you want to maybe wipe this off of any debris or grease. This was a fairly clean rag, but it's getting a little greasy now. So there you're put back together, and all you do is put your tire back on. Now, one thing, I'll take a picture of it. You want to pop your oil or your brake fluid reservoir. Just pop it a little bit, loosen it, because of the compression when the fluid starts running into the caliper again. There's sometimes it might even be a drop of leakage because it'll come out the top of your brake reservoir. And so that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to take it for a test drive, and hope it was somewhat informative. I know there's a lot better videos out there on doing this type of stuff, but we are backyard mechanics. Remember, we're not professional. This is just how we did it. How you do it, you know, is your business. But I've watched a lot of YouTube videos where people are showing how to do stuff, and I appreciate it, and it's helped me. So hopefully this helps you, even if it's just a little bit. So that's it. VA, why don't you say goodbye? He was an assistant here today.
All right, thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you next time
On the Part-Time Preppers. So long. Okay, time to give her a test drive. Wait a minute. We got the wrong car. Okay, all joking aside, yeah, you definitely want to pump the brakes good. When you get done putting brakes on, take it for a nice, you know, mile or two test run. So, now we got the right car now. So, okay, once again, take care, be good, keep stacking, saving some bucks when you can from the Part-Time Preppers. So long.